Hi, my name is Adrian Pagdin. Welcome to our e-learning capsule series on project management. This series has been designed to support prior learning, and each module represents a refresher on one of the key topics of project management. Our objective is to provide a short, effective capsule, provide you with confidence, competence and tools to execute project management activities. Capsule number 12. Handover and close. The objective of this 5-minute refresher capsule is to provide the competence and confidence to apply handover and closure to a project, to demonstrate the importance of the terms of reference in the change register, and to understand the key steps to successfully hand over and close projects. Handover is the phase or phases of the project lifecycle where deliverables are transferred from the project organisation to business as usual. Deliverables can be transferred as soon as they are complete, or aggregated together and provided as one set of functionality or capability. Successful handover is dependent on a number of factors that will include functionality being as expected, deliverables within scope, on-time delivery, and there being no surprises. Successful closure is dependent on a successful handover, but also the closure of all contractual positions, costs, facility and resource accounts, the completion of administrative deliverables like reviews, lessons learned, updating organizational process assets, and filing. So let's start at the beginning with planning for handover. Imagine that you are the project manager responsible for delivering a fail-safe data transfer solution for a high-profile client. The client is well known for their no-nonsense approach and their strict attention to detail and contract. They're also well known for readily applying penalties if a contract is not accurately executed. So against that background, imagine a stress-free handover where both parties complete a handover checklist and move on to celebrating the successful acceptance of the solution. There are two principal actions that every project manager can take to ensure this happens. Number one, plan for a successful handover with the use of the terms of reference, change register and scope control. And number two, maintain a mantra of no surprises through effective and honest communications. The Project Management Institute places a great emphasis on inputs to processes and the importance of maintaining up-to-date and accurate terms of reference. This robust approach is illustrated here. At handover, the success criteria stated in the terms of reference and elaborated in the business requirements document are validated. Any deviations in scope must be explained in the change register. You can also see the handover plan here. It's created at the initiation stage and addresses questions like what are the potential issues, who needs to be involved, and responds to process demands. So let's have a look at a typical handover document and handover process. A typical handover checklist will describe the process, the practical requirements, and then list the conditions as success criteria. Note the facility for partial completion of conditions and the potential for conditional acceptance. These conditions would only be relevant where core functionality had been completed and where there had been a prior agreement for conditional acceptance. While it's outside of the scope of this module to discuss actions to embed change, it's worth stating that a majority of change would be accepted and better utilised if the project and business as usual teams work together to plan and execute actions to embed the changes, like involving end users in the design and delivery processes, training and communication. It's this early identification of handover needs that most directly influences a successful handover and avoids delays or frustrations. So let's look at closure. Again, we've got the closure checklist form. Closure relies on prior planning to be effective and efficient. Note that the process describes the steps to take and the checklist features some typical conditions. Cost and resource accounts closed, contracts closed, lessons learned and review documented, team reviews and reallocation complete, organizational process assets updated. Why do you think it is that most projects are not formally closed? Well, it's either because the scope has changed and therefore completion cannot be demonstrated, because the project manager is reassigned, or because insufficient time and resources were allocated to completing it. The clearest response to all these issues is early identification and early planning for handover and closure from the initiation stage onwards. So we have looked at the importance of planning for handover and close, the importance of key documents and process throughout, and we've also elaborated on the importance of clear and effective communication. So let's conclude with some best practice steps. Handover and closure is where the project is acid tested, and yet it's a process that's much neglected. So let's plan for handover and closure while conducting the terms of reference and business requirements activities. Maintain that mantra of no surprises. And to successfully embed the change, consider involving users early in the design and delivery process. We hope that you've enjoyed this capsule. Please browse our other online resources, and if you'd like to know more about open or in-house workshops, please contact us.